We've been introduced to Keyblade Masters early on in the Kingdom Hearts series, but it seems that their roles and importance to the Keyblade wielders have been inconsistent at best. And by that, I mean, how much should these Keyblade Masters oversee and train newer Keyblade wielders? And what exactly would this mean for a newer generation of Keyblade Masters, specifically Aqua and Riku? Welcome back, y'all. This is your girl Empowered Muse, and today we're going to talk about what exactly does being a Keyblade Master entail. Does being a Keyblade Master actually require training and testing newer Keyblade wielders, and to a broader extent, taking Keyblade wielders under their wing? And there are a few reasons I thought this was a valid point to explore. There has been a fair amount of discussions of just how impactful Master Yen Sid was in training and sharing the wisdom of his mastery with the younger generation of Keyblade wielders. There's also the question of what happens when a Keyblade Master is very hands-on with their tutelage, like Master Ericus was with the Wayfinder trio. And overall, what could this new generation of Keyblade Masters bring, and what will that mean for Sora and other Keyblade wielders eventually joining the ranks as Keyblade Masters? So when it comes to the more traditional relationship of Keyblade Master, Keyblade wielder, we really see this first in Birth by Sleep with Master Ericus and the Wayfinder trio. And while we primarily see this play out in Aqua and Terra's Mark of Mastery exam, the overall setting for the Land of Departure is very much giving a boarding school-like training ground. In fact, it's very evident that Master Ericus was about the only influence for Terra, Aqua, and Ven's worldviews as they relate to light and darkness. An asterisk for Ven's worldview since he currently doesn't have memories of his Union Cross days. But because Master Ericus was essentially the Wayfinder trio's main influence for their worldviews, at least until they were able to explore other worlds in Birth by Sleep, this led to a more myopic view of the relationships between light and darkness. Master Ericus, I think, provided a good sense of technical skills and even a fairly solid background into the history of Keyblade wielders, but overall his teachings were limited in the sense that they were very one-sided in favor of light. And this was basically reflected in both Terra and Aqua's struggles with darkness, albeit in different forms. Terra's desire for power was immediately critiqued as an indicator for the desire for darkness from Master Ericus, instead of being met and regulated with a more open mind. And Aqua had this innate pressure, partially due to Master Ericus's teachings, to essentially watch and guard Terra and Ven from any potential darkness corrupting them, while also putting aside her own pains and fears, at least until she wound up alone in the realm of darkness. So while Terra, Aqua, and Ven's circumstances at the end of Birth by Sleep were primarily due to Xehanort's actions, I do think that Xehanort had the ability to really exploit their weaknesses and knowledge gaps because he was aware of Master Ericus's philosophy when it came to the broader concepts of light and darkness. Now, Master Yen Sid's ways of teaching were a bit more interesting, at least from what we know in the Kingdom Hearts story so far. And this is primarily because the only Keyblade wielder who was considered a true student of his was King Mickey. By the time Sora and Riku met Master Yen Sid, he's actually retired from his duties as a Keyblade Master, as Master Ericus revealed in Birth by Sleep. In fact, we don't actually see him wield a Keyblade in the series. So it seems that Master Yen Sid was more of a theoretical master in the sense that a lot of his teachings really came from what was written down as opposed to his personal experiences. Although in a way this could have left room for a more open interpretation of what it means to be a Keyblade wielder and a Keyblade Master. And it does seem that Mickey was able to get a lot of practical experience under Master Yen Sid's teachings, and we even see that with how Master Yen Sid conducted Sora and Riku's Mark of Mastery exam. But again, while Yen Sid's teachings seem to have more practical, real-world applications, there seemed to be a significant knowledge gap in his teachings about the details of the history of Keyblade wielders. Not only that, I think that Yen Sid's practical applications do tend to work better for Keyblade wielders who have essentially been to other worlds already. So it kind of makes sense why some thought that Master Yen Sid wasn't the best representation of a Keyblade Master, teaching young Keyblade wielders and preparing them for something like a Keyblade War. Although I think we would have seen some more advanced techniques from the likes of Sora, Riku, Kairi, and Axel without the time crunch that was the looming threat of Xehanort's Keyblade War. And as far as Master Yen Sid's philosophies on light and darkness, they seem to be pretty much in line with Master Ericus's views, but perhaps more flexible and open considering he did grant Riku the title of Keyblade Master and didn't see his dark abilities as a threat. But this is only an educated guess based on Mickey's initial views of light and darkness before meeting Riku, and Master Yen Sid's willingness to work with Riku and learn more about his abilities. So for King Mickey, he's kind of a unique Keyblade Master in the sense that I think he's still in the process of developing his own philosophies to pass down to younger Keyblade wielders. Additionally, Mickey never formally trained a Keyblade wielder, as his interactions with the Wayfinder trio in Birth by Sleep took place as he was in the middle of his Mark of Mastery exam, and his journey with Riku didn't really involve Mickey formally training Riku, but rather accompanying Riku on his journey to forge his own path between light and darkness. But it seems that Mickey's now in the stage where he's sort of guiding the other Guardians of Light and serving as a resource, but not necessarily formally teaching them. I think that Mickey is actually still developing as a Keyblade Master himself in order to be a more balanced Elder Master for the Guardians of Light. Perhaps as Mickey learns more about the full history of Keyblade wielders in this next arc with his journey to Scala at Kylum, we'll see him come into his own philosophies to pass down in the future. There are actually a lot of mysteries of just what the first Keyblade Master's teachings were. When we look at the teachings in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, they very much focus on the more practical side of being a Keyblade wielder and fighting off darkness in these other worlds, as well as at least trying to prevent a Keyblade War from occurring. However, after the events of Union Cross and into the events of Missing Link and Dark Road, there's quite a gap in how Keyblade Masters were selected and what exactly they taught. And while we know that Ephemer was named the founder and first Keyblade Master of Scala at Kylum, we don't really know what his philosophies were and what he passed down to other Keyblade wielders. I can imagine that Ephemer's teachings were probably similar to Master Ericus's teachings based on what he went through in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, but until we possibly get more background from Missing Link, that'll likely be left an open question. And the only other Keyblade Master that we see in the Key Saga is Master Odin, who seemed to also use this combination of traditional book teachings and real-world applications, kind of like Master Yen Sid. However, we don't actually know Master Odin's philosophies when it comes to light and darkness, and while we can assume that Master Odin was very much pro-light, I do think an interesting piece that we got to see from Master Odin was his ponderings on destiny and fate. So I think there's this question of what exactly are the responsibilities of Keyblade Masters, and what would that imply for the newer class of Keyblade Masters, that is Aqua and Riku. And yes, while Aqua was named a Keyblade Master over 10 years ago in Birth by Sleep, she's just now really getting into her role as a Keyblade Master and taking on the responsibilities such as training Kairi in this next arc. There seems to be this understanding that Keyblade Masters hold this responsibility to guide a new class of Keyblade wielders into using their powers to protect the light of the worlds from darkness, but to what extent do they impart their own philosophies of light and darkness and influence Keyblade wielders? Do they hold full responsibility for what path Keyblade wielders take, and whether their hearts are strong enough to pass the Mark of Mastery exam and be deemed a true Keyblade Master? These are just some of the questions and discussions that have come up throughout the Kingdom Hearts story as we've observed how Master Ericus, Master Yen Sid, and even Xehanort guided Keyblade wielders throughout the story. And I think these questions will continue as we potentially see more Keyblade Masters being named in this next arc, like Terra, Vin, Sora, and Kairi. Keyblade Masters have been fairly important to the Kingdom Hearts story, and what we've seen so far are Keyblade Masters that have been principled, but also a little flawed in their teachings. However, with each new generation of Keyblade Masters, it will be interesting to see just how much more open and involved this newer class of Keyblade Masters will be. But I want to hear from you, so let me know what you think about the roles of Keyblade Masters in the comments below. If you want to explore some more Kingdom Hearts theories, I'll be linking another Kingdom Hearts theory video here in the end screen. And as always, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video and want to watch more Kingdom Hearts content. And if there's anyone who may have questions about what to expect for the upcoming Kingdom Hearts games, be sure to share this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.